Have you ever tried to read a research paper and felt like you were completely lost, even though it was technically in English? Well, you're not alone. Academic writing is this incredibly powerful way to share knowledge, but let's be honest, it often feels like a secret club with its own hidden language. Today, we're going to crack that code.
So what even is this secret code? Well, it's really a set of rules, a specific structure, and a certain kind of language that scholars all over the world use to get complex ideas across clearly and, efficiently. All right, let's dive right in and see how this whole thing actually works.
First things first, we are not talking about the kind of essay you wrote back in college. Nope. The world of academic writing is a totally different ballgame, and the stakes are way, way higher. What we're talking about are department papers. The heavy hitters, theses, dissertations, and all that faculty research. These things are literally the engine that drives entire fields of study forward. They're not just for a grade, they are essential contributions that build a scholar's career and push our collective knowledge to the next level. Now, as you can imagine, writing something like that is not easy. It is a huge challenge, and it's especially tough for scholars whose first language isn't English. This challenge really boils down to clearing three big hurdles. You've got linguistic competence, then rhetorical awareness, and finally, deep disciplinary knowledge. See, it's not enough to just know the words. You have to know the rules of the game and be an expert on the topic. And this right here really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you have linguistic competence. That's knowing the vocab and the grammar. But on the other, you have rhetorical awareness. And that's all about knowing the unwritten rules, right? It's understanding that a biology paper is structured completely differently from a history paper. They basically speak their own dialects of the academic language. And the pressure is immense. For academics all over the world, getting their work into English language journals is pretty much a requirement for getting international recognition. So mastering this code isn't just some academic exercise, it's a flat-out professional necessity.
So if it's such a tough nut to crack, how do aspiring scholars learn the ropes? Well, it turns out universities have some really smart systems in place to teach this secret code.
One of the key strategies is called pedagogical scaffolding. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is simple. Think about building a house. You put up scaffolding to support the structure as you build it, piece by piece, and then you take it away when the house can stand on its own. It's the exact same idea here, breaking a massive skill down into smaller, manageable steps. A perfect example of this in action is the teacher-student group conference. In these sessions, students don't just write a paper and turn it in. No, they draft it, then they get feedback from their classmates, and then they get expert guidance from the professor. It's a brilliant way to model the real-world peer review process, which is the absolute gold standard for how research gets checked and approved. All right, let's get to the fun part. We're going to zoom in and decode one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, the research abstract. This is where you can really see that secret code in plain sight. You can think of the abstract as the movie trailer for a research paper. Seriously, it's a short, punchy summary with one main job: to convince a super busy expert that your full paper is actually worth their time. So yeah, it's got to be good. Okay, so here we have a real abstract from a literary analysis paper. Now, I know it might just look like a dense block of text, but trust me, there's a hidden four-part structure in there. Let's break it down move by move. The very first move in the code is to state the purpose. Every good abstract starts right here. See how it says what the paper examines and what it's arguing? It gets straight to the point. There's no fluff, it just says, here's what this paper is about and here's my main claim. Next up, you have the method. This is the how. How did the researcher actually do their work? Here, they're super clear. They combined two different research approaches. This tells other experts in the field, hey, my work is solid and I've thought through my process. And that brings us to the payoff, the product. This is basically the results. It answers the question, so what did you find? This is where the paper reveals its key discoveries. It answers that all-important so what question. And finally, every abstract wraps up with the conclusion. This is the big zoom-out moment. The writer explains why their little discovery matters to the bigger picture, suggesting how it could impact the entire field. It connects their findings to the larger scholarly conversation. So you've got purpose, method, product, and conclusion. We've decoded the abstract. But you might be wondering, why does this super strict, almost formulaic structure even matter? Well, this structure isn't just about following some arbitrary rules. It's all about clarity and efficiency. Like this quote says, it's a global standard,
that makes sure complex research can be understood by anyone, anywhere. You can think of it as the universal operating system for scholarship.
And look, the payoff for cracking this code is absolutely huge. It leads to much clearer communication, it dramatically increases your chances of getting through peer review, and it helps you get that international recognition we talked about. And ultimately, that's how we all chip in and help advance human knowledge.
But that leaves us with one last, really interesting question to think about. This code has been the standard for centuries. But now, with technologies like AI becoming more and more a part of research and writing, you have to wonder, is this secret code about to get a massive rewrite? That's definitely something we'll all be watching.